Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Yesterday we learned about proportional relationships. Today we are going to talk about that idea of that constant of proportionality. And we're going to give it a new name that you're going to use more often. Well, that you're going to use more often than you did with the other names there. So today we're going to talk about that idea. So the constant of proportionality and the unit rate, all right, and what we would like to call rate of change. Those are all words that mean the same thing. And we're just going to kind of shorten those and always just talk about those as slope. All right, now some of those have a little bit more to them. Like, for example, constant of proportionality, you know that it has to be a proportional relationship in order for that to work. But we're going to just kind of lump everything that you see there into the idea of slope. And slope is how things are going to change. How does a line move on a graph? All right, you'll often hear that slope is rise over run. Because it's going to talk about how much is it going up on the graph, how much is it going over on the graph every single time. Right? That's the idea of rise over run. And so if I said, yesterday in one of our problems, the constant of proportionality was 15. If my slope was 15, that means it goes up 15 and over 1, right? Because it's not a fraction. And slope, we typically use the letter M to represent. I know that sounds really weird, that slope is M, but it comes from the Greek, the word meta, which means from the word metamorphosis. It just means change. So that M is because of meta. It's about change. So, if my slope was 2/3, let's say, that means that it rises 2 and runs 3. So on a graph, it would do something like, let's say I had a point here, rise 2, run 3, right? That's what my line would look like. So no matter what your slope is, it's going to be that idea of rise over run. And all of those ideas are important. So today we're going to talk about a couple ways that we could see the slope, and then we want to talk about the formula to find slope. So we're going to go kind of quick. So there's 4 things that your slope could be a positive value. All right, so if the slope of my line was positive, then we always read a graph going left to right, just like a book. So if my line is increasing from left to right, it's going up, that line is going to have a positive valued slope. So maybe it would be 3/5, right? It's positive 3/5. If it was negative, my slope was negative, then my line here is going to be going down. It's going to be decreasing going from left to right. So maybe that would be the slope -4. It goes down 4 over 1, down 4 over 1, something like that. All right? That's definitely possible. You could have a positive slope, you could have a negative slope. Now there's 2 other things that could happen to your slope, and those are the important ones that don't really make sense. All right, so we could have a horizontal line. So it kind of matches the x-axis there. The slope of this line, it doesn't increase and it doesn't decrease. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. So the slope of this line here is a slope 0. All right, so horizontal lines are going to have a slope 0. It's like the flat road. It's just completely flat. So therefore the slope's going to be 0. And yeah, so slope is 0. My other choice is a vertical line over here. And that slope we call undefined. Undefined. Oftentimes it's just shortened UD for undefined. And basically that one means like that's not really a possibility for my slope. And that's going to make sense. If you notice, it rises, but it doesn't run. So maybe it goes up 2, but it runs 0. Well, boys and girls, we know that 0 cannot be on the bottom of a fraction, right? We can't divide something by 0. That's why this thing is undefined, because we can't have 0 on the bottom. So those are the 4 options. We could have a positive slope, a negative slope, 0 for my slope, which is horizontal, or undefined, which is the vertical line. All right, so how do we find this slope? Well, if I want to know how a line moves, usually I need 2 points. So let's say I had 615 and -2, -1. And I want to know what is the slope between those 2 points? How is the line changing between those 2 points? Well, there's this really cool formula we can use, and you're going to use this one a lot. It says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's going to be how to find my slope of my line. Now these little 1s and 2s, they're not exponents. They're talking about which point I'm looking at. So typically I will label one of my points point number 1 and one of them point number 2. And then also if you want to label them, we know every point is x, y. X comes first, y comes second. All we're going to do to find the slope is we're just going to plug in those values. So y2 means look at the second point, the y value, that's -1. Look at the first point, the y value, that's 15. Look at the second point, x, that's -2. And look at the first point, x, and that is 6. That's pretty much the hardest part of this problem. If you can set them up in the right spot, you're going to get this right. Actually, as long as you can subtract, because people have trouble subtracting too, for some reason. So, -1, I can add the opposite. -1 plus -15 is -16. -2 plus -6 is -8. So -16 divided by -8, I can simplify that, and my slope is 2, just positive old 2. So this line's going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. The rise is 2, the run is 1. And I'm getting that over 1 because if I was going to write 2 as a fraction, I'd write 2 over 1. So anytime you get the slope and it's an integer or a whole number, you can always put it over 1, and that's going to be the run part of it. Let's try another one of those. Let's go with 9, -6, and 13, -6. All right, I want to find the slope. So I'm going to label my points. We'll call this one number 1, this one number 2. Important fact, it does not matter which one's 1 and which one's 2. Just label 1, 1 and 1, 2. This is x, this is y, this is x, this is y. So I'm going to go y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's going to give me 0 over 4. And if 0 is on top, that would be a horizontal line because the slope is 0. So 0 on the top, I know that's my horizontal line. That's a slope of 0. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, we're going to have to practice these a lot because we're going to do them a lot. So the next 2 days, we're just going to kind of do a lot of stuff with slope, looking at graphs, looking at tables. We'll go from there. Yeah. Cool. All right. You guys have an awesome day. Hope to see you later.